Congressman, let's turn to talk about the current state of US China relations as it relates to the COVID-19 pandemic. Do you think the Chinese government could have done more to share with information with the United States when the outbreak first happened in Wuhan, China?
I think China's response when we were seeing the first reports of the outbreak were totally inappropriate. We wanted to send the best scientists from the CDC, the NIH, and from around the world to the hotspot, not just to protect the United States, but to help China understand this disease and get ahead of it. The lack of transparency, I think, was appalling, and I think it's shocking to many of us around the world. I hope the lesson learned here is if we find ourselves in a situation like this, we have to work together because it affects all of us.
There seems to be a lot of information that we don't know, and the Trump administration has requested information from China. As a member of Congress, what kind of information would you like for China to provide right now for you to understand, for us to understand more about this outbreak?
We know the virus originated in Wuhan. Was it accidental from one of the wet markets jumping to humans? There's these reports of State Department cables of potentially lax safety standards at some of the labs. Looking backwards and trying to blame one another and play politics doesn't help anyone. But let's actually understand where this virus came from, how it jumped to humans, and how it spread. That requires, if China wants to be a global leader, if they want to set an example for the world, they can't be secretive. Global leaders have to take responsibility for the good things and the bad things, and they have to work together with the entire global world. This is a chance for China to show its leadership by allowing people to come in and studying it and not hiding data and facts, because we want to make sure we understand this virus so it will help us recover, but we also want to prevent the next pandemic.
The COVID-19 outbreak began in China, but right now Beijing is conducting a widespread disinformation campaign to change that narrative. For example, a Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson took to Twitter to say that it may be the U.S. military brought the virus to Wuhan. What are your responses to these kind of spurious claims and unfounded conspiracy theories?
I think conspiracy theories, fake claims like, hey, it may have started in the United States or elsewhere, just don't help anything. Let's deal with the facts. Let's be adults about this. Disinformation, lack of transparency doesn't help anyone. And again, if China wants to be taken seriously as a global leader, it has to act the part.
So what kind of actions can the United States take to counter this disinformation or misinformation campaign?
Look, I think everyone in the scientific world and in the medical world and around the globe understands where this virus came from. That's fine. Let's figure out how this virus jumped to humans. Let's figure out how the virus spread so quickly, and let's better understand it. That started in China. So they can do whatever disinformation they want, but that's not acting like an adult or a global leader. I don't think now's the time for the United States and China to get into a political war, but unfortunately you see some of that happening. I think this is the time for the two world's largest economies to work together, both to help each other's countries, but also the world is going to need this as this virus spreads to the Southern Hemisphere and other places.
Many foreign policy observers are saying that the era of U.S.-China cooperations is over. You mentioned part of that you would like to see some cooperation. Do you agree with that kind of assessment?
I think the relationship between the United States and China, and really the Western world and a large part of the world in China, is going to be different as we come out of this pandemic. Now, China has a role in defining what that relationship is. If they solely act in a dishonest lack transparency and don't help the rest of the world combat this virus, then I think it'll be a very different relationship. On the other hand, if they show leadership, if they work with the rest of the Western world and the developing world, and if they have transparency so we can understand the pandemic and the virus that's in front of us, then maybe it will allow them to show that they are that global leader.
What message would you like to send to our audience in China?
To the audience in China, a virus doesn't understand borders. It doesn't understand your religion, the color of your skin. This is a virus, and it's affected the entire planet. I'm not here to, as a doctor and a member of Congress, I'm not here to place blame anywhere, but I am here to express concern that we have to work together to understand this virus, which killed a lot of Chinese nationals, but also to help prepare and prevent the next virus. So the world is in this together, and this is a time for China to step up its leadership, work with the rest of the world, and be transparent so we have a good understanding of what happened.
Thank you so much, Congressman Bera, for your time and speaking with Voice of America.